Welcome back to New York Living. We are talking relationships, platonic, romantic, professional, all of them. We've all had conflicts in our relationships, but how many of us have avoided conflict?
That's right, yeah. Bottling up resentment or staying silent can sometimes do more damage than speaking up. So how do we stop running from difficult conversations and learning how to handle conflict in a healthy way? Matthew Abrams, author of Inviting Genius, I was going to make a joke. How good leaders use conflict to become great is here to help. Welcome.
Thank you.
How's it going?
Fantastic.
That was a mouthful, but I think this is a conversation that could or could not be a mouthful, depending upon how comfortable you are with conflict, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you discover that avoiding conflict could actually hurt you or hinder your growth or development?
Yeah, well, my conflict journey began when I was a kid, which is true for most of us. My parents were happily married for years and years and years, and they got in this huge fight one day, and their marriage slowly but consistently deteriorated. Ultimately, they got divorced. And I never saw them have conflict before or after that major fight. So for me, over the time, I created this story that I need to avoid conflict. And ultimately, my business failed because my first business, I couldn't have healthy conflict with my business partner, and it ultimately failed. And I just did a deep dive for the past 15 years about what happened? How did that happen? And I realized that so many leaders and people avoid conflict, and it comes at real consequence.
Because conflict has a negative connotation.
Right.
You think it's going to be it coexists with fight.
Right.
That's right.
But it's communication, which is the key to 99% of the healthy relationships on this planet.
100%.
So there's a difference between when you avoid conflict, people think there's peace, but it actually creates distance, right?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, so we can have unhealthy conflict, or we most of the time avoid conflict. And when we obviously have unhealthy conflict, it's personal attacks, and that doesn't go well. But most of the time, none of us want to have that, right? So we just over-index I'm just going to avoid it and stay safe. But over time, as we do that, especially with people we care about, either a spouse, a kid, in business, it creates a divide. We're still feeling those things. We're still feeling out of alignment and that tension, but we don't say it. And then ultimately, it erupts and it goes poorly.
So what happens when we avoid hard conversations? All of those things and then some?
All of those things, yeah, those relationships that matter most to us, we stop showing up authentically as who we are. And if you think about a marriage, there's a couple in a marriage and something feels off and they consistently don't say the thing and the marriage drifts apart. They begin tolerating things, and over time that toleration just leads to kind of tapping out a bit.
Yeah.
When you're a leader, vulnerability is synonymous with weakness, they think, a lot of times. When vulnerability is something that can be used for your advantage, correct?
Almost always. So I've worked with over 100 leaders and leadership teams, and absolutely the story of the leader is stoic, I got it all figured out, I have all the answers, and that's never true, right? The leader never has all the answers, but he or she often think that. And when they do that, two things happen, both of them bad. One is the leader doesn't feel like I could say, hey, I need help, I made a mistake, I'm not figuring this out. But also they're modeling this for their teams, right? And what I found with working with all these CEOs and executive teams is the best leaders are the ones that are real.
Yeah.
The ones that say what they're feeling when they need help, they say, I need help.
Humans.
Yeah.
They're humans, right? It's not a surprise.
I don't have the answer. Turns out, and I would have more respect for someone who did that. So why do humans naturally avoid difficult conversations?
Yeah, well, two things, and it's a deep history lesson in 30 seconds. So it goes back to 500,000 years ago, right? When we lived in tribes and there were snakes and there were saber-toothed tigers and we were trying to stay safe. So that part of our brain, number one job, keep us safe.
Yeah.
Right? So when we think about conflict, it's unsafe. We have this story, it's unsafe. So I want to stay out of that. The second thing is we are gregarious tribe kind of humans, right? And in the olden days, we would get nervous, if I'm out of the tribe, it could lead to death. It could lead to ostracization. So similarly, we don't have these hard conversations because we want to be accepted. We want to be part of the team, part of the community, part of the family, whatever. So we avoid it.
It's nice because our bosses, we have something where we get together and we all cry together. I'm totally
You're
kidding, but
so
that would
far
be,
ahead
wouldn't
of
that be
the
nice? It would be the
amazing.
vulnerability. Thank you, Matthew, very much. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Very
Oh,
much,
it's my
man.
pleasure.
Coach Abrams, everybody. Inside joke.
If you haven't already, pick up a copy of his book, Inviting Genius, How Good Leaders Use Conflict to Become Great. The book is available wherever books are sold.